We're on. Before I go any further, let me just check and make sure that everything that's supposed to be showing up is actually showing up. So that, there we are. All right. Okay. We're going to jump right in. We're going to jump right in because we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go in terms of we have the whole month, but we only have 15 or 20 minutes today. I say that because the intention is that every day we get just enough, we are on enough to give us each some inspiration, some information, some motivation, but not take up too much of our day. I got a response from somebody yesterday who said 3 o'clock in the afternoon is right in the middle of my teaching, my classes. And so before I go any further, let me just clarify that we are going to be doing these at different times of the day. If you remember, I'm Shirley Osborne. I assume that you know that, and I should have known better than that. I should have introduced myself properly. Of course, I just assumed that you come on here, or you bounce upon this. My name is right there, Shirley Osborne, Elevation 2023. This is day one of 28 days of lives about Elevation 2023, what it is, where we're going, how we're going to get there, who is going to get there, what we're going to do when we're done, all of those cool things. But before I do that, let me just say, it's just so that we can grab as many people as possible, we can reach as many women as possible, because if you know anything about me, you know that my work is, I am determined, adamant, committed to ensuring that my work reaches women all around the world. I'm from a tiny little island in the Caribbean, and I've traveled over so much of the world, met so many different kinds of women in so many different kinds of situations, circumstances, and have found over and over and over again that despite all of that, despite the many different languages that we speak, the different clothes that we wear, the different ways that we connect with spirit, the different work that we do in the world, and despite our different ambitions and desires and so on, the problems, the issues, our challenges are pretty much the same wherever we are in the world. Fancy that. And so I want to make sure that what I'm doing, I do the work that I do, partly to move around, to transmit some of what I gather along the way, some of the wisdom, the information, the knowledge that I gather along the way. I pass it along. One of my Chinese students said to me, some years ago, that's what you do, we pass it along. We are taught, she said, that when something good comes into your life, you have an obligation to pass it along, to move it forward, right? There's a movie about, I think it's about a Haitian young man. It's called Pay It Forward. You get something good, share it, pass it along, don't hold on to it. The thinking is that, like love, the more you use it, the more it grows. Like your brains, the more you use it, the better it works. Your body, the more you use it, the better it works. Yes? So I'm going to be doing these lives at different times of the day, and I'll say in advance. So today we started at 3:15. I said 3 o'clock. And then I'm in the Caribbean still. I'm in the Caribbean at the moment. And lighting. There's a lot of light and sometimes too much light. In fact, you can probably see behind me, we tried to do something with the window. There's just too much light. Well, there's no such thing as too much light, is there? There's a lot of light. So what we do, we work with the light and make the best of it and use it well, which is what we're going to do with Elevation 2023. We're going to use the light in all of us and the light in the world and make things better in the world for us, for our individual selves, for the people who are most important to us, people we love the most, and for the world at large, the world in general. So this is day one of 28 days for the entire month of February, the month of love. There's Valentine's Day in the middle here. For the entire month of February, we're going live every single day. Every single day, hey there. And we are going to share information, talk, exchange all kinds of cool things, talk about what it will take to elevate, what elevation means, and what it means in our particular context. We're going to share lots of stories, lots of information, because this is the beginning. And the way I work is when you start something, you just go, you start strong, you accomplish things. And then guess what? Once you've done that and you accomplish the big important things right up front, you can coast a little bit later on. You won't be under so much pressure when you get closer to the end. I mean, we've all been to school and we've done the whole, let me just adjust this a little bit, cramming for exams kind of thing. You know how that works? You spend all year fooling around and doing all kinds of things and say, yes, I know this. And then a week before exams, you have to buckle down and you're under stress. We don't have to do that here. As a matter of fact, I advise people to not do that. I'm going to own up and say that I don't do that all the time, because as a matter of fact, there are some of us who work really, really well under pressure. I am one of those certain kinds of pressure. So very often I start a project and I get the ideas and everything straight and done and I'm good. And then I relax. And then what I should do is, about the middle of the way through, put some pressure on again and make some bigger moves. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's the week before that I do, I cram and crash. That's what we do. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because sometimes when you're under pressure, that's when the ideas come. That's when things really, really spark and fly. When you relax and chill, you have time in the world, you have all the time. Sometimes the imagination doesn't work so well, doesn't work so fast. So all of these are good strategies, just that we need to use them at the right time. And so what we're going to do, what we're doing with these 28 days of live, is we're starting strong, going full out strong, so that later on we can have more fun. We're not under so much pressure, but so that we've got so much done already that when we need to be under pressure, we still will have the ideas will spark. Because what also happens is that once you've set the stage, you put certain things in order, that helps to spark. That helps to make things fly. That helps to open up imagination and ideas. So it really is a good strategy to get a whole bunch done in the beginning, so that A, you can relax a little bit later on, and B, you have more with which to work. Yeah? So that's what these 28 days are about. And today, the first one is, I titled it, We're Talking About Us, Girl. We are talking about us. Who's us? Us is the women in the world. Us is the women in the world, the women in all the world. Like I said, over time, I have learned that we are very much the same. My grandmother told me that a long time ago. My grandmother told me that women must always look out for other women because we all have the same troubles. Troubles is the word she used. When I was a child, I understood it because I understood the language, but I didn't understand the deeper meanings in it, the deeper significance and the reasons why. As I grew older, as I learned, as I built my own relationships with people, with friends, lovers, family, colleagues, and as I traveled, I came to understand more and more of what my grandmother meant when she said troubles, and why she used troubles. Rather than just say we're all the same, she said we all have the same troubles. We also all have the same desires, ambitions, hopes, dreams. We all want good lives for ourselves, for our children, for our loved ones. We all want to be happy. We all want to be valued. We all want to live fulfilled lives, fulfilling lives. We want to contribute to our environment, our families, our communities. All of us want that. All of us want that. Many of us are stymied. Many of us are prevented in many ways from being able to do that. And so a lot of my work and that's part of the troubles that my grandmother talked about. So my work focuses on getting women through the troubles to the space where they are strong enough, empowered enough, cool enough, informed enough, wise enough to be able to balance and organize and manage their lives so that it works well for them and for others around them. Because of course, many of the reasons why women have troubles have to do with people around us, with the communities, the cultures, the societies within which we live, and that have these expectations, make these demands, as a matter of fact, on women, and in so many areas prevent women, inhibit women's autonomy and development and expression, women's growth, hold women in tiny, tiny little spots. In some places, don't allow women any leeway, any space at all. I mean, when I say allow, I mean allow, because in some parts of the world, we are clear that we have rights and we know what our rights are. And we have the right, we have freedom to do this and choose and make our own decisions about love and work and family and all of that. Many women in the world don't have that. So when we're talking about us, we talk about those of us who have the freedoms and those of us who don't. It is still us. So, for example, I was reading the other day that in Afghanistan, the Taliban, who came back into office a year or so, a little over 2 years ago, whatever, not so very long, a year or two ago. Time just flies, doesn't it? It wasn't December, it wasn't, yeah. And they have decided, it was announced that women will no longer be allowed to be treated, they will no longer allow women to be treated by male doctors. Now, bear in mind that they also are decreeing that women not be educated. So women won't be able to become doctors. So if women won't be able to study and become doctors, go to school, go to university, and actually go to work, because women are supposed to stay home, that's how they want it. So won't be able to go to school, won't be able to go to university, won't be able to study to become a doctor, won't be able to work, and won't be able to see a doctor, because there will be no women doctors for the women to see. If that is not trouble, I don't know what is. And if that doesn't bother those of us who can choose whichever doctor we want to go to, or choose to be a doctor whenever we want or not, if that doesn't bother us, then we probably need to take a second look, a deeper look at ourselves, because those troubles affect us. They're us. They are us. I grew up in a place where all the girls I know went to school. My mother went to school. My grandmother went to school. Women can choose to go to university. My mother had 4 young children, and yet she took time off to go to university. And nobody said, no, you can't, or you shouldn't. Her choice. She had autonomy, independence. She was married and had 4 children, and yet she had the freedom to make those decisions. And she worked. There are women who don't have that option at all, who have no options, actually. They're still us. So throughout Elevation 2023, what we are going to do, among other things, is get clear on who us is and talk about what our responsibility is to each other. Do we, because we are human beings, have a responsibility to others? Do we, because we are women, have a responsibility to other women? And if so, what might it be? And how big is it? And how much of it? When we give, if we decide we have this responsibility, and it, in full disclosure, I believe we do. I believe that as human beings, we have responsibilities for other human beings. And as women, we have a responsibility, a particular responsibility for other women, because of the world in which we live, because of the societies in which we live, because of life. And so I want that when we talk about us, we recognize, acknowledge who us is. When I say we're talking about us, girl, we are talking about us, all of the girls in the world. I have a friend who has a baby who's 3 months old now. Beautiful little girl, just born. She's just arrived in the world. I went to see a family member, a relative, the other day, who's at 103 years old. She made her 103rd birthday 2 weeks ago. They are us. The child who's just born, who's just entering the world, needs to be taught, needs to learn, needs to make her way, needs to build relationships, needs to build her confidence, her strength, find her powers, her abilities, her freedoms, her expression, her spirit. And the woman who is 103 years old and has lived, being married, and as a matter of fact, she said that they probably one of the reasons why she lived to be 103 is because there was no man, messing around in her life. She said it in the language that we use here, but that's what she said. There was no man stressing her out. That's another conversation for another time, because men are part of our lives. And so what we get to do as us is figure out how together to resolve those issues with the men in our lives, the men whose systems in the world cause stress in our lives. Cause a 103-year-old woman to say that the reason I live so long is because there's no man stressing me out. I believe it doesn't have to be like this. And I've been lucky enough to have a man in my life with whom that is not an issue. Right? The man of my life is one of those in which that is not an issue. I grew up with a father who my mother set straight early on, because men are brought up like this all over the world. And my mother set him straight early on. So I grew up with a father who knew what time it was. He knew the deal. And he taught me about being independent and making my own decisions, making my own choices, and not, as me said, have men knock me about. So when we get that, I believe I'm committed to the idea that, yes, we have a responsibility to other women, to teach girls, support girls, help them build the strength, the inner strength, the physical strength, the financial strength, whatever strength they need, so they can walk on their own, they can stand on their own 2 feet, and help men along the way to understand that, hey, that really is the most satisfying and fulfilling relationship. If what you want is a woman who cooks and cleans, makes babies, and has nothing else and contributes nothing else, there are systems where that's all they want from women. I believe that most men want more. The ones who want only that know only that, are afraid of anything else because that's all they know. But I believe that men are also intelligent. Men are as intelligent as women. And therefore, when they get to know, they get to know. It is so much more satisfying, so much more fulfilling. There's so much more potential and promise and possibility and capability and in having women in your life. The women in your life being autonomous, thinking, intelligent, educated, successful, autonomous, independent, they have so much more to offer. The question is, how much do you want from life? So when I talk about us, I'm also talking about that. The us who believe that, and the us who, are brought up to believe the opposite. We're still us. And when we show the men and the other women who have not this information, this experience, when we show them, my belief is that for the most part, they understand. I do accept, I have to acknowledge that in many instances, there's nothing they can do. It's a dream that they have to hold in their heads because their circumstances won't allow for any change, in any significant, at least outer change in their lives. But when they get to know, they get to know. And we all we live best when we have aspirations, when we have things, dreams, hopes, aspirations. And so when women aspire to these things, it adds something to their lives. So we're talking about us today and who we are in the world. And I want to leave you with this. Who we are in the world, who us is caretakers of our worlds, our individual worlds, our personal worlds, and co-caretakers of the rest of the world. And as co-caretakers, we do our part, and sometimes we have to pick up the slack for others. Sometimes you have to pick up the slack for others. And when I talk about elevation, I'm talking about us arriving at the place where we understand that, we understand our role, our position, our mission, individual and otherwise, in the world, and we commit to them, and we prepare ourselves, and we dig in, and we do what we came here to do. And that's what Elevation 2023 is about. It's about women owning our space, adding value to the world, intentionally adding value to the world through having added value to ourselves, to having developed our possibilities, our capabilities, our spirit, keeping healthy, developing a sense of style that attracts people and helps us also present ourselves in ways that make us feel good, help us live a certain lifestyle, wealth. We're going to be working on personal relationships, personal power, and that's the autonomy and the ability to have confidence in yourself and be able to use it judiciously and well and wisely and successfully. And of course, relationships, because we live in a world with other people, and relationships are important. They're critical. Loneliness is a hard place. Lonely is a hard place to be. So we need relationships. We want strong, healthy relationships with ourselves primarily, which makes it so much easier to have strong relationships, good, positive, supportive, loving relationships with others. So this is day one. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and share this with someone. Tell someone about Elevation 2023. Go to shirleyosborne.com, register, join us, become part of this, and see all of the things that we're going to be doing this year. Everything from personal coaching, your self-leadership plan of action, your I Am poem. We're going to talk about feminine alchemy. That's really, really cool. There's a bunch of other things. We have the newsletter that goes out on Wednesday evening, so it'll go out tonight, early tomorrow morning. And the newsletter comes out every week, and you don't have to be a member of Elevation 2023 or the Women's Leadership Circle to get that. Just pop me your email. Go to shirleyosborne.com. There's a pop-up box. Put your email in it, and I'll add you to the email list for the newsletter. It's called The Elevator, and all it is 5 tips every week. Tips on the 5 different areas, how you can improve and strengthen yourself in these areas. Again, they are health, style, wealth, personal power, and relationships. So go to shirleyosborne.com and do both, actually. Well, if you register, if you join us, then you get the elevator automatically. If you're not ready to join us yet, go there anyway and put your email address in the pop-up box. It'll come to me, and I will add you to the list for the newsletter, the elevator, which comes out Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Share this with other women. The goal is that we all, as a group, support each other in creating wonderful, positive, powerful, uplifting movement in our lives. We elevate ourselves and each other, and at the end of the year, we celebrate together. And we'll talk about those as we go along. Yes. These lives are to be short, less than half an hour each time, so that we can just get the information and keep moving, because we have a lot to do this year. I have a lot to do, and we're only at month 2. You're still in time to register for $30 for the year. $30 is all it takes for the year, and you get everything. You get to participate in everything that we do. Yes. And you get to learn and benefit and strengthen and grow and share it with others. Because when you work on yourself, you not only feel better, you not only feel better about yourself, the world feels better about you. You feel better about the world. It's a bit of a circle. It's a circle. You feel better, the world feels better, you feel better about the world feels better about you, and it strengthens and strengthens, and that's what a circle is. The negative ones are the same thing, by the way. The ones where you don't work on yourself and you feel worse about yourself, you feel less every day, same thing happens. The negative feelings strengthen and strengthen and strengthen until, but we're working that same system for positive, powerful reasons, empowering, uplifting, elevating reasons. So once again, go to shirleyosborne.com, register, join us on Elevation 2023. Join us every day here for Elevation Live, Elevation 23 Live. Send me your comments, your questions. We're on every day for the next 27 days. Every day I'll put out a time when we are going to be on. And again, I'm doing it at different times of the day so that other people people in different time zones can participate because it's a global thing. And one last thing, the global thing is going to culminate in a tiny little island in the Caribbean on All Year's Night. So on December 31st, we call it All Year's Night. Other people in other parts of the world say New Year's Eve, same thing. All Year's Night has a bit more magic and mystery. Yes, a bit more magic and mystery to it. So on All Year's Night, we are going to be celebrating. Hello, Margaret. Hello. Thank you for that. Yes. Good afternoon to you too. It takes great communication. Yes. All Year's Night has more mystery to it. So All Year's Night, we're having a party here in Montserrat. We're having a party here in Montserrat with monitors and fireworks, and women from all over the world will be either joining us in person or joining us online on the screen. They'll see us celebrating. We will see them celebrating. And I mean women from all over the world. I've talked with women in England, women in Ghana, women in the United States. I'm talking with women all over the world, or women around the Caribbean. I spoke to a woman from Guyana the other day. We were working on this. Look, women from all over the world will connect on All Year's Night and celebrate one another, celebrate what we have accomplished over the year, over 2023, in preparation for the massive jump we're also going to make in 2024. It's a lifetime thing. It's getting better and better every year. That's the goal. We get better and better every year, intentionally work on ourselves, work on one another, because there's no doing this alone. And if you know me, you'll know also that my firm belief, my motto is one woman succeeds, all women win. So one woman's success serves all of us, all of us. So we want to make sure each of us wins. And one of the easiest, most profound, most powerful ways to ensure that is to do it together, which is why I'm calling together all the women that I have ever met in the world and all the women you know. So invite all the women that you know, have them join the Women's Leadership Circle at shirleyosborne.com. Have them join us, work with us throughout the year. Let us support one another in our circles, our lives, our seminars, our videos, all the cool things you're going to do this year. Okay? So in this particular one, where you are, click like, click share, subscribe, do all of the things that we must do to make this grow and generate and regenerate itself and spread, because we want that. We want at least 1,000 women focused on Montserrat, focused on each other, on Montserrat, on All Year's Night. Can we do that? I say we can. We can do it with your help. So go register and get your friends, sisters, aunties, mothers to register, daughters, grandmothers. Yes? So I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be on at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is 3 o'clock Montserrat time. 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is 8 o'clock in England, 9 o'clock in the night in Europe, and it's 4 and 5 o'clock also in different parts of Africa. It'll be 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the west coast of the United States. So yes, join us. Jamaica and Bermuda also an hour out from us. But so it's a 4 o'clock Eastern. Coordinate that and be here. Let's chat tomorrow. I'll post a little bit of note about tomorrow and our next, when I'll actually tell you, I'll tell you this right now, because I've done some preparations here, obviously. I mean, it makes sense, right? So today we're talking about us, girl. And tomorrow the question is, what do you want? Tomorrow the focus is a question, what do you want? What do you want? Ask yourself that today, tonight, and get ready for tomorrow. And let's talk about what we want. Yes? And there are no limitations. You want what you want, and there's no reason why you shouldn't want any or all of the things that you want. So, yes, hello. I should have said hello before. I wasn't paying attention, really. I wasn't watching all the screens because I got so involved in talking. So thank you, ladies. Thank you. Go have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening, day, afternoon, morning, whatever, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Until then, take good care.